Go.
Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Cabin Crafts. My name is Candy, and today we're actually not going to make something, but we're going to talk about the history of a few of the pieces that I actually sell in the store. What I have in front of me is examples of American Scrimshaw. And if you're not familiar with Scrimshaw, Scrimshaw is a form of scratching into a bony surface, and then you rub that with India ink and it leaves a beautiful picture behind. And this was very, very popular in the late 18th and early 19th century in America. It started with whalers on whaling ships. Sailors would go out on whaling ships in the late 18th, early 19th century to get whale oil. Most of America's homes were using lighting with whale oil lamps, especially on the East Coast, like around Connecticut and New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Lots of whaling ships went out of New England. So, I mean, nowadays we know that that's not good, but they did leave behind a very beautiful art form. So they would carve on whale's teeth. They would make bone or ivory busks that would go in in the front of her corset that would make her stand up straight, and they would be beautifully scratched into with these beautiful designs. And a lot of times it's whaling scenes, or it could just be love scenes. So here is an example that I have in my store of a little snuff box. This is made by Harris Maupin. He lives here in Missouri. This is all cow bone, okay? This is not ivory. This is from a cow horn, and he has scratched on the surface a whaling scene, and then on the side it says 1799. On the back is a ship, and the name of the ship is the Essex. And I don't know if you all watched the movie The Heart of the Sea. I think it's got Liam Hemsworth in it. Maybe it's not Liam, it might be the other Hemsworth brother, but anyway. And then on the top, on the lid, is a little cowbone whale that he's put on there. So this was a snuff box. So back in the 18th, early 19th century, people did a lot of snuff. Nowadays, this would just be a little trinket box, but this one's based on Moby Dick. That's where Herman Melville got the idea for writing Moby Dick, was the true story of the Essex in 1799. So look that up. That's a really cool history. It's a beautiful movie if you want to see the true story of Moby Dick. So there's Moby Dick right on the cover of the lid. And this, like I said, this is cowbone and walnut. And then he even made a separate little white whale. So that's a little snuff box or trinket box. The rest of this stuff is more Frontiersman art. So this is all cowbone, cow horn actually. So here's a little shot glass made from cow horn. It's got a walnut bottom. You actually could drink out of this. This is called a salt horn. And this is a Lincoln salt horn. So I don't know if you can see very well, but that's Lincoln's head. He hand carved Lincoln's head out of walnut. Rest of this is cow horn. And on the back it says, A. Lincoln, the Union secured, and his head twist off, and you would get a little funnel and pour your salt in there. So if you're Daniel Boone and you're out trekking in the wilderness, you might have had a salt horn, not with Lincoln obviously, because Lincoln's later than Boone, but you might have had a salt horn in your possibles bag for your stew that you might eat on the trail. This is a little powder flask, again all made of cow horn, beautifully decorated. This would be going in the pan of your rifle, of your black powder rifle. This little one you would put in the pan. So this is a little powder flask, a little black powder flask. Then I have two of Harris's powder horns. These are absolutely gorgeous. They're museum quality, all handmade by him. This one is a example. It's an exact replica of what's called a Tanzel powder horn. The Tanzel family were powder horn makers in Kentucky, and they did lots of beautiful artwork. I hope you can see this. There's a bow, a guy shooting at a deer. Then we get here. There's your Federal Eagle. Again, we talked about the Federal period was very popular in America. So there's your Federal Eagle. This one was from the Black Hawk War. So it says Black Hawk, 1841. So this is a left hand or a right hand powder horn. It would have hung at your side like this. And of course, this is to pour down the barrel of your black powder rifle. So you have one for your pan, you have one for your barrel. And this is all walnut, American Missouri walnut. We have a lot of walnut in Missouri. He even hand carved the little peg that goes in here. Beautifully done powder horn. Here's another powder horn. This one has a scripture on it, Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. And then on the other side, going up this way, is a tree of life. And I know you probably can't see all the detail in these, but there's squirrels and birds and rabbits and mushrooms. It's just very, very detailed. So beautiful. His horns are just gorgeous. And they're all made here in Missouri. Museum quality. I mean, when he brings his things in, I feel like I've robbed the Smithsonian. That's how beautiful his stuff is. And then here's some more Scrimshaw. This is more the traditional sailor type Scrimshaw that we talked about earlier. This is a lady that makes this stuff. Her name is Michael Konecki. This is one of her necklaces. This is a ship. So sailors, when they went out whaling, they could be gone as long as 4 years on a ship. That's a long time. And it would be a long time maybe in between spotting whales and killing whales or hunting whales. So they had a lot of time on their hand, and they would go into making all of this stuff for their loved ones, their sweethearts back home. So this is a necklace. Now this is not ivory. This is dental polymer. Mike uses modern materials nowadays because we do not want to use ivory. It's against the law, for one thing. Plus, I hate the idea of killing animals just for their ivory. It's very horrible. Anyway, here's a pocket knife. This has got a deer on it. This is a Barlow knife that she's scrimshawed on. So the knives are cow horn, cow bone. So again, not ivory. Here's a little teeny weeny mini pocket knife. It really works. This one's got a little tiny lighthouse on it. Look how little that is. I don't know if you can see the lighthouse. Little bitty tiny knife. And then we have a pair of earrings. Again, dental polymer. We have a teacup and a teapot. So she makes jewelry. She makes beautiful things. She is an early American Life Directory craftsman. She's been in there for many, many years, and so I sell her things in my shop. This last piece, this is ivory, but it's actually legal. This is a bookmark made from a recycled piano key, an antique piano key. And this is actually legal. It is grandfathered into the ivory laws because it was already existing. It was on an antique piano. So if you all know of any antique pianos, don't throw those keys away. They are ivory. And the way you can tell if a piano key is ivory is where the black key comes down, there will be like a little slit. You'll see a little crack. It won't be a whole piece of white. That key won't be. There's a little crack between the white and the black keys, and that's how you'll know it's real ivory. So if you know of an antique piano that somebody's getting rid of, save the keys. And contact me because I'll give them to Mike and she can make bookmarks out of them. And that's actually a way to save something that's already been used. My log cabin next door to my shop was full of old junk, and there was an antique piano in there that was in really bad shape, and we saved the keys and gave them to her so that she can make a beautiful bookmark. This one's got a bee skep and bees. Bee skeps and bees are very, very popular in my shop. So this is a little bit about Scrimshaw. I sell the frontier pieces and the more modern and traditional Scrimshaw from Mike in my shop. Many of you will probably comment and say, why is this not on your website? Well, as you can see, these are not mass produced. They can't be made very quickly. So they're kind of a one and done, one hit wonder thing. The only things I put on my website are things that can be made over and over again on a repetitive basis. And these are also unique and individual that I can't put them on there. It takes a long time just to put an item on the website, and then when it's sold, it's gone. And I just don't have time. I'd be doing that all day, every day. But if you look at my Facebook page, or if you message me, I can let you know how much some of these pieces are. I will tell you that Harris's things are not going to be Walmart prices. So, and Mike's things are pretty reasonable for the amount of artwork that are on them. So anyway, this is an example of Scrimshaw. So look that up. Very popular in America, late 18th, early 19th century. And thank you very much for watching another edition of Cabin Crafts.